Hi, it's Laura with Following the Paper Trail, and it's What's Up Wednesday for May 26th. And today I'm going to show you a nifty binding method. This is very similar to what I've used on my wedding mini album that I will be teaching a Ustream class on this weekend on the 28th to 29th, and I'll actually be doing the cover on June 1st during the day. But I've had so many comments on how I did this binding method that I want to go ahead and do a quick YouTube video so you can see how to do it. I will also be showing next Wednesday, I'll show you how I did these cute little pages that are inside, and I'll have this mini book all finished up for you. But anyway, I want to show you how to do this binding. It's got binding rings that punch through a wrapped chipboard cover. And then the pages is attached to those rings. So let me real quick go through it. What you're going to need is you're going to need 3 rings. And for the book this size, you'll need just the 1-inch rings. You'll have to adjust all your measurements if you're using larger rings than that. You'll also need some chipboard. And this is just kind of medium to heavy weight. If you can't find this weight, you can also just use cereal boxes and just put 2 layers together. They're all going to be covered, so if it says Frosted Flakes on it or Lucky Charms, really doesn't much matter. You'll also need a couple of pieces of 6 by 12 paper or cardstock, and then one of them is going to get trimmed down, and I'll talk about the size for that. But for the outside, you're going to actually use a 6 by 12. So here, what you're going to do for your chipboard for this size, so that it fits on a piece of 6 by 12 cardstock, and you don't have to do any splicing of it. This is the size it needs to be. You're going to have your chipboards are going to be 5 inches by 4.5 inches. Your center spine is going to be 1 3/4 inches by the 5 inches. And then the other one is the 5 3/4 inches. And your paper, as I said, will be 6 by 12. You're going to affix your chipboard down to that. I like to use my Xeron, but you can use whatever your favorite method of glue or adhesive is. And then I use the 1/4 inch tape, that double stick tape, this super sticky stuff. Love that stuff. Before you peel off the tape, you want to take and trim these corners down. You don't want to go right to the corner. You want to be just about the width of the chipboard away from the corner, because you don't want to cut it just too close, because then your corners will get kind of funky looking. But you're just going to cut that off at roughly a 45-degree angle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm just going to peel off all of the red tape. So it just peels off like so. This stuff is like, I swear it's magnetic to anything. It just, whoops! It just sticks. The red tape part of it. The sticky part sticks to pretty much anything too. Oh, come on. I can get these off perfectly any other time, but when I'm on camera. Okay. So you're just going to take and wrap the paper around and stick it down. You can do 2 ends first and then the sides. One thing too that also helps sometimes is if you just kind of roll it up like that, kind of gets it started, makes it a little easier. Like so. Wrap this guy on there like that. Okay, so once you've got that on there, then you're going to take and measure the size of this, and you're going to cut another piece of cardstock to be on the lining, and you're going to cut that about 1/4 inch in both directions, smaller, and then we'll attach that down with just your favorite adhesive. I also like to run a couple of beads of the adhesive right next to this joint. You want this joint to be about the width of 2 layers of chipboard apart from each other. Just run that on each side of the joint. And I just have a little shim that I've made that's just out of 2 layers of chipboard. So I just keep those to give me that what that gap needs to be. Let me slip that out of the way. And what I've just used is a piece of double-sided cardstock, and I'm just using the other side for my so-called lining. Alrighty. So then I'm going to stick Just center that down and stick it down like so. Okay, then what you can do is gently fold up at those intersections. Fold it, back on itself pretty good. And then what I've done is I've cut a piece of cardstock the same size as what my spine piece was, and I've marked where I want my holes. Because of the size of this, I'm bringing this down 3/4 of an inch in from the top and the bottom, and then my third set of holes is going to be right at the center line. And the width is determined by if you took and laid your if you measure the inside dimension of your rings. For instance, if these are a 1-inch ring, typically the dimension is the inside dimension, or the ID. So that's how far I measure the inside of my ring, and that's how far apart I make my holes. Now, by doing it on here, I'm not dealing with, oh, whereabouts is that? Because what I can do is just lay this on there like so. I've already got the holes punched in there. And I can take a pencil then, so it's essentially just a template. I can take and just mark where those holes. So I don't have to sit there and measure a bunch before I go to punch my holes. Now, because these are in further than a regular hole punch, I'm going to be using my Big Bite to punch my holes. And I find I like this Big Bite a lot. I'm not sure why I do, but I think because I can just punch holes in a lot further than my crocodile one. So anyway, so I've got my holes punched in there like so, and at this, I got adhesive stuck on there. So then I can take my rings, open those up, and then keeping this joint on the outside, I just kind of wiggle that in, bring it through, and close it like so. Do the same thing with the other two. Sometimes you kind of got to push it to get it through a little bit, especially after it's closed, and you can kind of push it through. Because remember, you've used the inside dimension, whereas the ring itself is a little bit bigger, so you kind of got to force it a little bit, but it really doesn't do anything to your holes. So then I've got, and then it's kind of like a 3-ring notebook with the rings then. So with the joint of the rings are on the outside, it opens up on the inside for you to put your pages in, and then off of this back part you can hang off your ribbons and your fibers if you want to do that. It also helps tighten the rings up a bit, so you want to be able to put something on there to help tighten the rings up, so then your pages stay in there nice and tight. And so like so. This, as I said, this isn't finished yet, so I'll show you how I'm doing these little pages with these little flaps. And these are actually from envelopes. I'll show you how to do these next Wednesday, which is what, the 3rd, or no, the 2nd of June. So What's Up Wednesday, I'll show you this finished album as well as how to do these pages. But anyway, fun, easy, quick binding. I mean, this is like 45 minutes maybe worth of work. Oh, even that much, maybe not. Half an hour's worth of work this morning to get this all ready to go to show you how to do this one. You saw how fast it was to wrap this one in, ready to go. So anyway, nifty binding, and check out my Ustream at ustream.tv/channel/following the paper trail. Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific time will be the first class on the wedding album. 4 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday, and it will be at excuse me, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time then on Tuesday. So everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you Friday. We'll see you then. Thanks a bunch.